Guru Kripa Kevalam. Namaste and welcome everyone to Satsang today. Sadguru Shri Muji Baba ki Jai Jai. The video isn't so good. This should be alright. It works so well. How is it now? Video is back? Okay, let's see. Okay, let's go to Shraddha and see what happens.
Namaste, Ananta-ji. Namaste, Sangha. Yeah, I wanted to come forward this morning to sort of see if this is just another mind confusion situation or whether there is something to be resolved. So, do you remember that movie City Slickers? Does anybody know that movie? It had Billy Crystal and it was an American movie. And there was a moment that always struck me in the film where one of the characters asks him or gives this advice and says, the secret of life is one thing. And I saw it at maybe 8 years old, and I knew what he meant at that point. And of course, the character is going around wondering what the one thing is, and at the end, he says, "No, the one thing is whatever the one thing is, but just make sure it's one thing. Doesn't matter what it is, but it's one thing." And it's really a question about manifestation. I noticed that there's this I just don't really know where to trust from where my actions arise.
Achha.
There are so many aspects of life coming, and I feel as if things can be sort of picked up and then dropped because they don't matter so much. And also, this life does matter. And I've noticed here the tendency has been to sort of hang out in the absolute as a bunker of like a barrier against meeting life. Like kind of the ego has kind of used it to hide out a bit. And there's just a lot of confusion about what to attend to here and now while I'm here. And the poignancy of time passing. Does that make sense? I wonder if...
It's very good. I feel like a very good start to satsang. Because if there are two camps, like we were just discussing yesterday, that even the notion of open can make us very closed. Because it can be just, oh, I'm just open. So I just embrace everything that comes. I'm just so open. You see, I don't run away from anything. I'm just living my life. But all of it is just so conceptual. Very different from what I'm saying as open. You see, and definitely very different from what I'm saying as empty. You see? So many times we use the activities or actions of this body to gauge how open or empty we are. But really we can't. See? The same light of consciousness which is shining on the entire universe, you see, and therefore making it perceptible to us, is also shining on that which we call my body. You see? And in that light, the body is moving, just like characters on the screen of consciousness. You see? Now, the open and empty is a inward instruction about how you can allow, how you cannot resist whatever may be appearing and not resist whatever may even be disappearing. Now, that doesn't mean that you're in denial of life or something like that. You see? It is only when there are two camps and you pitch a tent in one of the camps, which can then be in denial of the other camp. No, one camp is I'm very worldly, or practical or real world or whatever it is called. And the other camp is I'm very spiritual or Advaita and I like to hang out in Brahman, this kind of idea. You see? So both of them are conceptual categories. Both of those are mental categories. They don't exist in reality. They only exist in our head. You see? Now, when we leave both of those and any other opposites which are possible, then we cannot predict where this body is going to go, what is going to happen. You see, whether it goes into worldly seeming environments or it likes to live in a cave, we cannot predict that. But neither of those are in denial of life. If cave appears, then cave appears. If social engagements appear, then social engagement. Instruction or the pointing and your reality has nothing to do with either of those appearances. See? So what can happen very often is that we may feel like we become very Advaita, which is we build a Advaita camp in our head and say, no, none of this is real, none of this is real. You see, but we are still taking on the position of being this body, concluding none of this is real. You see, and therefore not allowing ourselves for everything to just appear. Or we may say, no, I have to be a worldly person, I have responsibilities, I have family. You see, so how can I become spiritual? So I need to be in the world and all of that. You see, now those are the two camps which we traditionally build. There's another character which is called the advanced spiritual seeker. You see? Now the advanced spiritual seeker tries to build a third camp, which is trying to juggle both the camps or make it equal between both the camps. You see? So this is the advanced spiritual seeker who seemingly understood Satsang and seemingly understood the ways of the world. And now they're saying that we have to now integrate. You see? We have to now integrate. You see? So then, okay, I'm going to be 50% spiritual and 50% worldly. Let me mute everyone else. Now, that third camp is like a balancing act. See? And that balancing act with the constant checker guy checking on, are you being spiritual enough? Or are you being too spiritual? But you need to also be worldly because it is real, the world. And then, no, you're going too much in the world. You're being too much in the world. Please remember that all of this is not, it's all ephemeral. So please remember to hang out with the truth also. So constantly then we are on this balancing act. No? Oh, am I going this way? No. You see, so we're walking this tightrope. So this is the bane of the advanced spiritual seeker who feel like they've got some advancement in the spiritual progress. And feel like, okay, I've understood what the masters are saying, but I also understand that my worldly life is real. So I'm meant to balance out both of these things. Okay? And that is too much work. Too much work.
Oh, such a burden.
It's
I
a
mean,
burden.
it's like, it's really unpleasant.
So, so So there is an idea there, which is that I have to integrate my spiritual life and my worldly life. And then what is the I that has to integrate? What is the I that has to integrate? So God is messing up because God cannot balance my spiritual and worldly life. You see, but I have to do it. I have understood God. Come on, God, of course, God. And then, but world, also world. And God cannot run the world. I have to get them both together. I can do the balancing act. I can integrate. I can embody. You see, I will embody the highest teaching into this one body after realizing that my body is the entire universe. I will pick on one body to embody. So, and then I will integrate the highest spirituality and my world in that embodiment because I am special. I am the one who's understood. And I am the one who can do this. Because God is good as far as God is concerned, God is good. But as far as the world is concerned, of course, God is not good enough. So God needs some help from me to integrate or to embody the truth or something like that. Some notion like that. Versus, you see, and this may sound like openness to some, but for me, it sounds like severe oppression. This is severe mental oppression where this tree has two main branches, and now it is trying to grow the third branch, which is trying to equalize the other two main branches. I hope this one is not becoming too big. You see, this one has to be equal to that one. Can you imagine the life like that? Just trying to balance the two branches have to be equal, prune, 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 and then okay, now this has become too big, prune, prune, prune. Now grow, grow, grow. You see, it is not like that. Spirituality and freedom cannot look like that, isn't it? You see, so trust life, trust consciousness, trust your being. It is the light in which all of this is appearing anyway. What are you holding up right now? See, what are you? And this is not. I'm not ranting against you or something. I'm just saying that these kind of notions I want to share with everyone. You see, because for the mind that is progress. I've understood what Ananta is saying. I've understood what Muti Baba is saying. I've understood what Ramana said. You see, now, but I have the worldly life and things like that, and I don't want to be in Advaita denial. I don't want to be in Advaita denial because it is possible you can be in Advaita denial if you just have the conceptual version of what is being spoken about. You see? So life is saying, shaking you up, but you're like, no, I am only the self. I am only the self. You see? So it is possible like that, but that is a conceptual spirituality, which I don't feel like if you're really following what is being said here, I don't feel like anybody really is falling into that trap. Only sometimes the mind says, but your job is not over by being open and empty. How could it be over? Your job now is to integrate God and the world. Because who else will do it? Who else is going to embody the truth? But me. But which me? Back to square one. We started off with the false notion of the me. And we went on an adventure and we discovered that this me is not real. And then the mind tells us a trick saying, but you have to do it. The same me is back. Saying, come on. You can't only be spiritual. Get a balance. Get a grip. And what is that? Nothing but a third branch of that struggler who is now trying to get the right balance. The gardener who's trying to constantly prune the branches. Two main branches. So don't fall into that trap. Just open and empty. Just open and empty. And allow. So neither running to embrace, neither running away from. See? And I'm talking about inwardly. Oh, in your open and empty, you may run away from or running to embrace the world. You see? Some of you may become missionary. Some of you may become recluse. We can't say it. We can't say it. So don't judge the activity or the actions or the movement happening in one tiny aspect of your body, which is this body. You see, your body is this entire universe. Then within that, there's a tiny microorganism called this body. So don't use that as a judgment on consciousness itself, as a judgment on your reality and whether you're doing a good enough job, because that is nothing but the spiritual ego. Now I understood this, I understood that, and it is my job to juggle this now. And that is my life of a juggler. That doesn't look very free to me.
It doesn't feel very free, I'll tell you.
Exactly.
Yeah. And the kind of the trick, and I'm so grateful, Anantaji, to have this space to expose it, is there are these a beautiful teaching of Jesus that is often resonating from the Gospel of Thomas of if you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. If you do not bring forth what is within you, what you do not bring forth will destroy you. And so there's this kind of this creative pressure, am I manifest, but it's still an I game, right? So that's kind of been the pressure. Am I doing the right thing? Am I embodying? And I thank you for.
Let's look at this, and every interpretation obviously will be different, and no interpretation can claim final truthiness or something like that. But when I hear that, you see, when I hear that, I'm hearing, let your being shine. I'm hearing, let your being shine. And if you superimpose your being with masks, then that is the destruction, you see. But if you allow your being to shine, then that is true light, you see. So this is the way I heard it actually. What is within, bring it forth. Let your being shine. You don't have to suppress it or repress it under masks of personas and identities and tactics and strategies and projections about how life should be, how a spiritual life should be. All of these look like masks to me, under which the truth is shining. So bring that forth. Bring that forth. Let it shine. Let your true being shine. And let's see what happens in that.
Thank you.
For me to apply a strategy on top of your being would be to put a mask and to hide it. To say that my being is not enough, I need to amplify it with my idea of what should be created or how it should unfold. It would not, in my way of looking, seem anything like allowing it to come forth. Allow your being to shine. Allow your Atma to shine. Allow the truth to shine. With no fear about what may play out. What will happen? Our projection about our spiritual life and what we think we've got to will not be expressed through this body. That's fine. Is that fine or not? Maybe this is the question.
Well, it's another illusion, right? Because it's an object in conscious. It's in front of this that is here. Yeah.
Very good. Suppose your inner discovery, like consciousness recognizing its own source, is I am Brahman itself. You see, I am the qualityless, timeless, eternal reality. You see, that is your discovery. But the instant you start sharing about this, you see, the words from your mouth are just blah blah. Everybody's like, nah, I don't think you've got it yet, man. I feel like you're just all over the place. Would you all be okay with that? See, would you all be okay with that? Are you still waiting for this body and this tongue and this mouth to represent your insight, so that becomes then a certificate from others and your own mind saying, you're doing so well, you're really getting this? I would say don't be concerned. Don't be concerned. If in the light of your being, this body has to shine in that, with the light of those words, and they have to be expressed in any sort of environment, allow that to happen. And if it becomes silent, allow that to happen. And if it becomes completely silly sounding, allow that to happen. It's all good. It's all good. So sometimes the pressure also comes like that, saying, I found this truth, you see, but why can't I express it well to my family? Why are they not convinced? Or my friends still think I'm stupid. I'm not, what am I doing, wasting my life? You see? And not making as much money, or not being productive, and all of this, like we spoke the other day. Like this can be a projection coming from our mind or from the people around us, saying, but you could do so much. Look at you, just sitting. Just sitting. Look at you. And then the master says, oh, after I met, like Guruji says, after that encounter with Papaji, for years you were just sitting. That's not that I'm saying that just sitting can also become a strategy. So please don't misunderstand. See, the way it sounded just now may feel like, oh, the true expression of the truth then would be just sitting. See? So you shut up. Yeah, I know. I'm gonna just sit because my master just sat, and his master just sat. See? So I'm just going to do that. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that neither do we get attached to as a position, and we allow it to unfold how it is unfolding naturally. So we're not resisting invitations to move, nor are we accepting invitations to move. We are allowing them to unfold as they should.
And if I can just ask the like tuning fork or the way to know
Yes,
or to sense
yes,
when to do what
yes,
is
yes,
maybe the deeper undercurrent of the question, you know.
yes, yes. When we're feeling unsure, when we're feeling fearful or unsure in some way, then the tuning fork is our own intuition. See, it's our own intuition, our own heart guidance, which is, and all of you can spell it now, and most of you can spell it now, where something is just mental and something is intuitive. So that's why I've been also saying that trust the silence of your intuition, because the intuition is not like our mind, you see, which is constantly full of ideas, usually bad ideas. So trust the silence of your intuition more than the highest notion from your mind, which means that don't get disheartened if you don't feel like you got tangible guidance or worldly guidance about what to do. Trust that silence and allow it to unfold. Be patient with that.
Mm.
But if we are not fearful and we are not unsure and we are not looking for this kind of guidance, left, or right, then life itself is the tuning fork. Life itself is the tuning fork. So, and in life itself, there is no boundary around this body saying that this is you and the rest is the world. See, these are just conceptual categories that we have made so that we can create a story. Like the humanity has made these conceptual abstractions. So it says it's too complicated if you were to say, okay, head, neck, chest, stomach, you see, thighs, legs, calves, toes. So instead of that, like in every situation, if you are to insert yourself in that way, you see, it would seem like too much work. No? So instead of that, we say body. What body? Body equals all of this. You see, so we say like that. And in every situation, if you had to include everything that you perceive, instead of using the term world, light, sound, you see this one, that one, space, all of this, then be too difficult for the mind to create a story. So therefore, the mind loves understanding which is based on these abstractions, to which we can say world, body, me, other. See, like these kind of abstractions, without having to really look what is even being perceived. Have I gone too far with stuff like this? No, I'm just asking us to look how difficult the life of the mind would be if we did not give it the ability to label just these broad categories in this way. See? Then the story making would be so difficult. And let's make it a bit difficult for the mind instead of easier. So these narratives are all false. The narratives are all false. So, so when we look for even what to do, and it's all right. I don't want to sound too strong about this. It's all right. When we look for what to do, it's okay. We're obviously taking ourselves to be body mind at some level when we're looking for that guidance. And that's all right. But sometimes when we are not too much under pressure of the situation, then we can also say, but guidance for whom? Who is the guidance for? Does that one actually exist? So, so just to clarify, uh, when there is fear and there's a sort of wobbliness about what am I going to do, what should I be doing, you see, then we can go intuitively and don't rush into the answer. If there is no fear of wobbliness, life itself is showing us. You see, our feet, our hands, our mouth itself is showing us. You see, I have no idea what is going to come out of this mouth next, but I trust it. You see? It's just speaking. I'm also hearing, and it's very free. See? If I had to think about everything that is going to come out from this, it would seem like a lot of work. See? But there's just trust. So I'm hearing these words, just like you're nodding, hearing these words, I'm also hearing these words. See? It's coming. Who's saying that? Just in the light of consciousness, they're appearing. See? So your life is showing us what it is. You see what it is, and we can trust that. And then When it is not feeling like so much pressure about decision making, we can just ask to ourselves as an inquiry, but who is here that would need guidance? Who is here? I feel like we've unpacked a lot of things in this conversation. So it is not that you start off as a person and then you really dismantle the person and realize that all is consciousness and truly I'm beyond even consciousness. I'm that which is aware of my manifest nature called consciousness. And then there's a full circle where you say, okay, now how can I use this personally? Now that I've discovered that I am all there is, I am all there is, you see, which doesn't help the person in any way, although he would love or she would love for that person to be helped with this discovery in some way. It's just the truth, it's just a discovery. I am that which is all there is, and even beyond, actually. So you discover that. And then we must pack it all into one body again. Because am I living like all there is? Who can live like all there is? Then to live like all there is, you would have to then go left, right, up, down, sideways, sideways, diagonally, all at the same time. See? Which body can truly embody all there is? And what is that? Is just convoluted thinking. It's just strange. Like, what would that body look like which embodies awareness? Or even let's forget awareness, no quality. No? Okay, consciousness. What is it? How big would the halo have to be for you to embody consciousness? You see? More than the sun, for sure. And you say, okay, I'm getting close. It's all absurdity. It's all absurdity. And in a way, it is like a final trump card from the mind. Think, yes, yes, yes. Here's your certificate. You are free. But now prove it to yourself and to the world that you are free. And you have this instrument as the body to prove it that you are free. So now you have to take all of this realization, which is boundless realization. No boundary. This body is seen to be a tiny object in our consciousness on our screen. Now let's squeeze everything back into this guy. Let's squeeze everything back into this guy. And then I will give you the real final certificate. So this is okay. You've done very well. You cracked the spiritual puzzle, but you have not reached the end. See, the end is when you are able to do the balancing act. Like you run both the world and you run God. And you see, can you all see the absurdity in this? Because this is a common trick, and many in this sort of everybody calls everybody else Neo Advaita. Okay, so I'm going to call that Neo Advaita. Many call me Neo Advaita, so that's fine. But it's a very Neo Advaitin sort of concept, saying that now that you got all of this, but now you have to prove it prove it through the body. Like prove that you are God, prove that your realization is that you are God, but through this body. How are you going to do? All absurd, convoluted behavior will come out. No, I love you. Oh, I love you, love you, love you. But inwardly, you're just like that. But outwardly, because now you have to prove that you are God, you end up doing all this stuff. So stay away from all this nonsensical. It's just notions, notions about the world, notions about spirituality, super notions about trying to juggle both. Come to notionlessness, and from there tell me if something is not being integrated well or embodied well. Good. Okay, let's go to Shiva.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
Hello, Father.
Hello.
Yes, I wanted to come up just to uh, I wanted to expose some things that are keep coming somehow, and things that I keep giving attention to somehow. So I wanted to expose them and to give them to you, and not to not to give them too much
Yeah.
importance somehow. So I wanted to, yes, this the thought that uh, I'm not being somehow, I'm not enough. I'm not doing enough somehow.
Not enough. I'm not
In
doing enough. I'm not devotional enough.
Yes,
I'm not
yes,
inquiring enough. I'm not enough.
I
I'm not space.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And this is for you.
Yes, yes, yes. I'm also not enough. No, kids.
No, no, no.
I was just making a joke saying, yes, yes. Both of us not enough. Not enough.
No, it's not. It's not what I'm trying to say. And yeah, and
What would it look like? Because I know you
sorry.
struggled with this kind of concept for some time. If
Yeah,
you are actually not enough, you see,
yeah.
what would be missing?
Nothing is missing.
But if you were actually not enough, then what would be missing?
Maybe is missing the capacity to not believe the thought 100% somehow. No?
And
Maybe
what would give you that capacity? Is it lack of faith? Is it lack of devotion? Is it lack of willpower?
is
What
is is a lack of see, maybe of trust in what I'm seeing, in what I'm seeing, even right now.
yeah. So so suppose you did a blood test and trust came out to 7 out of 10, whereas normal value is 9. Okay, 9. Now, what is it? What diet do you have to eat to make more trust?
Sorry, what diet? No,
What
what?
diet? What can you consume that will
Yeah.
get the blood test report on trust higher than it is right now? So what I'm let's not take the metaphor too far, but what I'm really saying is that there's nothing like that. You see, so all of this is to just beat us up, beat ourselves up, and say, I'm not devotional
Yeah.
enough, I'm not trust enough, I'm not worthy enough. But there are no tools to create this. Like you can't sit and say, okay, today I'm going to manufacture 200 grams of devotion. You see? So So there is no trouble with how you are. You see, every temperament, every expression of consciousness is perfectly fine and completely suitable for freedom. Completely suitable for freedom. You see? It is just that somewhere it can seem like you hear something which just click 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 and unlocks you. You know, it just unlocks you. But it's not
Because
like everybody has a unique combination of conditioning. And in coming to satsang, you hear something click, 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 and it unlocks that conditioning and it falls away. Or just the energetic presence of satsang, something cleans up and does the thing. but there is no set of qualifications. We say if you have this, then if you have this many milligrams of a spiritual experience, so much patience to chant 10,085 times, and all of that, then you're worthy enough to come to satsang. No, there's nothing like here. So this is available for everyone because the truth is universal. If the click did not work universally, if you, maybe the only qualification is openness. You see, wherein if you're open enough to not go to your mind in that instant, that is truth, and it is truth for everyone, and nobody is discovering it less or more.
Mm-hmm.
Less or more is just a function of time.
Mm-hmm.
Before the sound of the click, all of you came to the same insight about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
When there is no time, there is no mind. There is no time, there is no mind. So, in that, before the click, who are you? Before you think about it, now, 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 now. You have no shape,
No.
no size, you have no limitation, you have no reference to I. See, you have no reference to I. And the reference to I is the I thought. See? But you are absent of even the I thought. Just naturally. Okay? So if I said to you, okay, there's one here, sitting here in the corner there, that one, you see, is not being enough. You see, that one not being enough. They need to be more to get freedom before the click. You see, you would realize, but that is absurd.
Yeah.
See? Because you have never been being more or being less. Your being has just been being.
Mm-hmm.
Is it that the master's being is more being than your being? Master's more being, being. Being. Huh? Master is Atma square. Huh? Atma square, but all of us are just regular Atma. Not like that. Your being, which is naturally here, has been. It all then depends on what you superimpose it with, what mask you decide to pick up.
Mm-hmm.
And that is that Atma itself deciding or choosing. See? But the light of your being is the light of our being. So drop this projection about what you need to get to before you can find the truth. Because you're completely suitable and ripe and everything right now. All of you. And remember that nothing needs to happen.
Mm.
See, because the cycle is like this. You say, I'm ready. But nothing happened. And I will deconstruct that nothing happened. But suppose nothing happened. So it's been clicking, nothing is happening to me. The rest of them are all nodding. You see? But honestly, nothing. Nothing is happening. You see? Then you say, why is nothing happening to me? I must not be good enough. I must not be leaving my thoughts enough. I must not be open and empty enough.
Yeah.
All the spirituality that you've learned, which was meant to deconstruct, you see, and to open us up, then becomes the defense itself. See? Ananta says open and empty, and anyone who's open and empty will get it. Why am I not getting it? I must not be open and empty enough. That is the inferences that the mind makes. You see?
Mm.
And says, okay. But I'm telling you that in this moment, all of you are free. All of you. You see? All of you. Now, what is happening to you is that you have another idea of what freedom should look like. You see? And therefore, you give your certificate of not passed, yourself the certificate not passed. You see? Because if I was really free right now, you see, how come there is anger? If I was really free right now, then how can there be lust? Lust? No. Not free. Branded.
Yeah, I'm seeing all these ideas of how things should be
Correct.
in life, and
Yeah.
how, and so, and nothing is going in the direction I thinking.
And then what
Even
happens is that if all this then continues, then what is this freedom thing? Is it just a sham?
is it just?
A sham, or just like a con? Is it just a con job? You see, if I'm saying that before enlightenment, anger can come. After enlightenment, anger can come. You see, before enlightenment, chopping wood. After enlightenment, chopping wood. You see, fetching water. Then what is enlightenment anyway? What's the point of it? What will I get? What is the benefit to me? I've spent 20 years of my life in this thing. You tell me nothing will change. So all this is the convoluted thinking from the mind. What is the benefit? Can I tell you all? Yeah, can I tell you all? That you are beyond this universe. You are not an object in time and space. You thought that you were. You may continue to think that you are. But you are recognizing that you are not. You are recognizing that this whole world appears in your light, the light of consciousness. You are deathless and birthless, timeless. It is your insight. It is your truth. But you cannot squeeze this into your heads and into the life of one body. And that is the classical mistake that many of you are doing. See, and that seems to be the theme of today, starting from Shraddha's question. See, you cannot squeeze it into your one individual life.
Yeah.
Or your idea of it. See? And to the mind, that is just like then pointless, because then what are we in this for? See, but for you, you stop living the biggest lie that you could ever live. You've come to the truth of your existence. You come to the discovery that you are beyond anything that can happen in this world. And everything in this world is acceptable to you. It's not like a resistive state. It's not like a resistive state, which would then be the Advaita denial. You see? But what you're discovering is that although you're untouched from anything that may happen in this world, and that becomes an antidote to fear, you see, you're open. Anything can come. So don't judge your freedom based on what your mind is saying. And your mind will be saying things about the activities of the body, or the states or the emotions appearing in the body. Don't judge yourself based on these things. You're not going to squeeze your freedom into that one tiny body. We're talking to you as consciousness. On what basis can you know that you're free? On what basis will you know you're free? If 1 kg of anger and 2 kgs of fear comes into that experience as if it is in the body every day, it means you're not free. You are not free as consciousness because in one body there is an experience of anger and fear. And by the way, if there is anger and there is fear to be experienced, who is that being cooked for? Who's consciousness cooking it for? For itself to taste. No? What is your basis for your own self-certification of freedom?
Are you asking?
Yes, yes.
Should I answer?
You're welcome.
Yeah. Well, what I'm seeing is maybe there is some reference about experiences I had, and I wasn't feeling like that, right? Like that was
That was when you were free.
freedom.
Yes.
Eh?
That was when you were free.
Yeah, not now.
Yeah.
This can't be freedom
This kind.
because because I'm feeling I don't know.
Because your being,
Even
whatever it may be, your being is not enough right now. Your being is not there.
yes.
You see, your being is not enough
Yes.
now. So the God which is available to you right now is like a substitute teacher. The main teacher was the one that you experienced that time ago. And this substitute is not good enough. Like flesh God is not good enough. That God was the real deal. You see?
Yeah.
I
shouldn't.
I'm just saying these things that soon it'll start sounding absurd to you. You see?
Yeah.
It could be even a possibility like that. Like your being, which is the light of your experience, everything that you're experiencing right now, even though your mind may be judging it and saying, oh, this is anger, this is not good, this is constriction, this is bad. You see, this is angry people in front of me or people who don't love me or in front of me. All this is being judged. You see? Now, whose light are they shining in?
Yeah.
Whose light are they? I want you to say it. Whose light are they shining in? Have you ever had an experience when you were not there? When your being was not there?
Is my light.
It's your light. It's your light. No? This light, whatever may come up on the screen, see? Is this light being touched?
No.
It is untouched by whatever it is being, it may appear. So the light of your being, can you show me a moment when it is not enough or it is different from a previous moment? If you wake up and you may have whatever feelings may shine in that light. Without that light, you cannot experience even a feeling. So judge the light and tell me when the light is not enough. Like, can you taste your own light right now? All the light in which you are experiencing the perceptions in front of you. In whose light is that light shining? Without what would this experience not be possible, right? See?
Yeah.
So what will happen if you shut the physical light? If the sun went down and you kept the lights in the room, will your perception stop? No, you will still perceive darkness. The experience of darkness will be there. In what light is that experience? In what light is darkness experienced?
My light.
Your light. Now, is that light different when it is dark and when there is physical light?
No.
It is the same. In the same way, you see, whatever the perception may be, you see, whether we label it as dark or light, good or bad, you see, the light is untouched. Your being is untouched. Can we make this being more worthy or less worthy? What can we do to it? See? Now, can we draw down a little bit more, even beyond this? Although this is the end of suffering itself. But but who is aware even of this light of being? You are aware without having to think, without having to move an inch. You can't stop it. It is just your natural condition. You are aware of even this light of being that I am. I is aware of am. Am is made up of the same I. What can happen to this I? And all of this, can you see in your head? Like, are you just inferring this as thoughts? All that is being said? Are you just taking it as concept? You can't do it.
No.
All that you can do is make a photocopy, no? In the concept. But when you're looking at the light, when you're looking at the light of your own being, it is not a sight looking, it is not a perceptual looking, it is an intuitive looking. You are intuiting it. You are not knowing it or seeing it. I feel like I'm going to use this word more. What do you intuit? What do you intuit about who you are? Everybody knows how to intuit. It's a new dance step I've invented. Know how to intuit? What is to intuit? I want to use this word because to use know or see or recognize also gets very confusing. Because we're used to knowing conceptually as ideas. When we say see who you are, then we feel like we must have a sight about who we are. You see? Or even when we say recognize, it feels like I must see an appearance like to recognize. You see? So I feel like I'm going to use this word intuit. Intuit who you are. And I'm going to tell you how to intuit. Also, I've told you 100 times before, so I'm going to tell you all again. When you're not doing any of the other dance moves, okay, which is to try and know, yeah, the dance move of try and know, and the dance move of try and see, you see, then naturally you're intuiting. When the false modes are kept aside, then your true mode of true insight, true intuition, true Atma Gyan is available. It's always available, but it seems to get clouded under the false. See? You learned how to do this dance or no? How do you intuit? How do you do it? Huh? Not dancing the traditional dance moves.
But it's not something you do somehow, no?
You is
You is
you is who?
this intuition.
You is intuition.
Who is intuition?
Who is intuition?
No,
It's like that Avengers
the-
scene. Who is Gamora? Why is Gamora? What is how does it go? There's always narrating, never watching movies. What to do with all this? So it is undeniable that as we let go of the false instruments of mentating and perceiving, to with the attempt to find the truth. You see, when we let go, I mean, we don't pressurize them to produce some meaning or truth for us. Then naturally there's an insight present which is not confused about who you are. You see? And it is not possible to be confused intuitively. Tell me, try it out and tell me if your intuition is confused. And the only way to go to intuition is to drop the false, drop relying on the mind and relying on perception to tell you the truth about who you are. What is the condition of your intuition? Is it blurry? Is it clear?
it's clear.
Clear. No? Is there any confusion about identity?
No.
You see, all that I'm saying to the mind will look like nothing.
Mm.
You see,
Yes.
the mind, when I say ask a question like this, the mind, some of your mind may be screaming, saying, nothing. What is he saying? Is you know, to the mind, this may sound like make believe, but in intuition, the mind is all make believe. So remember that we're not trying to squeeze our intuitive insight into our heads. Because into our heads, it'll only be, oh, it's like so simple, it can't be that. Or nothing. Really nothing. Oh, that nothing must be it then. See? Nothing must be it then. But all of that is nonsense, either way. That nothing is not it or it is just, as long as it's only conceptual, it's meaningless. See? And that is why I've given you a hammer also, as a tool. That is the only hammer you need. After explaining all of this, when I ask you, are you aware now? Where is that answer available? It is in that same space where you go to headless.
Mm-hmm.
Where is that answer available? Is it a perceived answer? Is it a perceived answer? Are you aware? Do you see awareness as a perception? Or are
Yeah.
you inferring it by saying, oh, because there is perception of world, therefore I must be aware? That is not a process I want you to do. I mean, if that is a process happening, it can happen, but I don't want you to rely on that. So answer faster before that inference can happen. Are you aware now? See, are you aware?
Yeah.
Please answer. So nobody's aware. I'm going to retire. You see? So this awareness is palpable before the, not, we have to use language, but not really palpable. But it's clear before you can start thinking, is there a perception of the world? If there is perception, therefore there must be awareness. And I must be aware. Before all that nonsense happens, you're just aware.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Where do you know that? Where do you intuit that? That is intuition. Want to go to your intuition? Ask yourself, am I aware now? and don't conceptualize an answer. Can you see?
Mm-hmm.
That is the end of spirituality in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Are you aware now? And that it doesn't matter what words escape from, but your recognition, confirmation, the recognition confirmation comes from your intuitive insight. See? It doesn't matter. Your mind could be screaming, no, no, no. Aware? What aware? You see, it could be saying that. Or it could be saying, yes, yes, yes. It doesn't matter. There's a deeper insight which is unshaken by these mind voices. So trust that, because that is your intuitive insight. There's nobody who doesn't have it. If your head is telling you, but this is not it, this can't be it, then it is the head which is mistaken. Okay. Another master trick from the mind is that now I need to stabilize.
Mm-hmm.
Stabilize.
Yes.
Okay, so destabilize this. Like I want you to come to a state where you're confused about whether you are aware or not.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it. Are you aware now? Don't be aware. Make it all blurry, confused. I'm so confused. It was so clear, but now come to that like post
I
satsang thing.
don't know.
Yeah,
I
just,
don't know, Father.
no, this is aware.
Who am I? I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah. Are you aware now? Trying hard, no? You're trying hard to be able to say, I don't know, I'm aware. You see, and someone may say it also. Someone may say it also. But even to say that, I would ask you then that you don't know. Are you aware that you don't know?
Yes.
You cannot escape your awareness.
No.
Even aware of the perception of these thoughts, I don't know. You are aware.
Mm-hmm.
Who is aware?
Mm-hmm.
Now remember that what you wanted has nothing to do with what you're finding.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yes.
What you wanted out of this has nothing to do with your discovery. So forget about it. Forget about what you wanted. The mind will say, forget about the discovery because it has nothing to do with what I wanted. But I'm telling you, forget about what you wanted. And many have like a subtle argument with me and say, but I came into spirituality for that.
Mm-hmm.
See? So then, if you took a wrong turn by mistake and ended up at the right place, will you now stop being at the right place because you took the wrong turn? If you came into spirituality full of personal desire but still you found something which is so beyond the personal. You see, you say, I'm going to leave the ultimate reality and truth just because when I came, I wanted something for myself. That's absurd thinking. But how many times have I heard this? But I came into spirituality for this. In a way saying, but I'm so grateful that I was full of desire, that I wanted bliss and joy and love and peace. I'm full of this desire. So now I have to service that because it got me into satsang. Come on. If you just objectively look at the nonsense in the mind, it'll seem like the most absurd comedy, no? All of us have like one Samuel Beckett sitting in our head, writing these absurd comedic sketches all the time. And there must come a point where we stop dancing to what my mind is saying, my mind is saying, my mind is saying. Is the mind paying you to watch its audition? What are you getting in? Your mind is saying. I know what your mind will be saying. I don't want to know. Why do you want to know anymore what your mind is saying? What meaning has it given to you so far, except nonsense, that you want to follow more what the mind is saying? And the mind itself will come and say, oh, but my mind is saying, and now the mind has to, when will it stop saying this? The mind itself will say this. When is it going to stop? Please, Father, when is it going to stop? It will stop. You're just looking at the past. Here, right now, it's over. Now you can look at the past in the form of the mind. Forget about it. God is here as your own being. Everything that had to be done is done. I don't do all these postmortems and say, go to the mind and say, what are you saying also? Are you fine? I'm very happy. How are you, Mr. Mind? Are you fine? That is just asking for trouble. Okay, so what are some of the things you said today? Don't try to be some masterful spiritual seeker, full of devotion, full of love, full of the absence of anger, lust, fear, all of it. All this nonsense. You are good enough as you are. God has not abandoned you. God is sitting in your living room waiting for you. You have abandoned it in some way when you go searching. So you are worthy enough. There is no living room which is empty of God. Okay? It is there for you. God is there for you. Truth is there for you. Only for you. It is there. Okay? Second is that don't use spiritual understanding to become a very advanced seeker who's going to now run their life in some very full of mastery. You see, all this kind of juggling spiritual concepts and worldly concepts, and just like every move is a ninja move, everything is so well executed according to the highest that we have found. See, leave all that. Allow this body to unfold as it is going to unfold. Don't pressurize it under some superb ideas of spirituality, especially. Allow it to be natural. Be like a baby. Don't worry about this kind of stuff. You don't have to integrate. You don't have to embody. You don't have to take on any project like that. You see, I free you from all these projects. There's nothing. Leave it. It's all nonsense. Just leave it. Just relax, chill out, don't worry. That is it. Then you cannot, what I've been harping on about for years about not using the wrong instruments come to the truth. Just discard the instruments of, when you're looking for something true, discard the instruments of the false, which is the instrument of perception and the instrument of conceptualization. So don't try to conceptualize your way into the truth, and don't try to perceive your way into the truth. You will never find the self as an object, and you will never find the self as a concept. Forget about it. Never going to happen. When you leave this, you are not lost. In fact, you are found. Found in the same way that you come to the insight about your own intuition. It's like the treasure was always in your heart, but you've been looking for peanuts outside. So leave these peanuts, come to the treasure which is in your heart. And you can live comfortably from here. Comfortably from here. Nothing is missing here. If guidance is needed, guidance will come. If silence is needed, silence will come. Just don't second guess yourself. Just live here. Don't worry. And this I've been calling live headlessly. Live headlessly. Don't worry about it. Just live. Don't worry. So that is called a free life. That is called freedom. That is called truth. You cannot be free like this without the truth being apparent, and you cannot have truth being apparent and not have this freedom. It is the same thing at one level. Anything else we spoke about? A little louder, my dear, when you're perceiving.
When you said that I have that calmness, yeah, I'm feeling it. But suddenly, on the level of the mind that you're experiencing, or is it at your own natural self?
Yeah.
This question comes.
So she says, actually, I didn't speak about calmness, just the intuitive insight, but suppose it was calm. So this intuitive presence, the presence of the Sadguru itself, the divinity of the presence is inside me. You know? Now the question comes, she says, that is this another aspect of the mind itself that I'm experiencing? How can I determine that? There's a way to determine that, but that way is not the mind. See? The question may come from the mind, but the true answer will not come from the mind. See? So now leave the mind, and when I say mind, because mind is confusing to you, don't value any thought which is coming, is what I mean by leave the mind. Don't value any thought which is coming. Allow those thoughts to be valueless. Let go of them. And then in your heart, the same thing which we are confused about, which is whether it's an aspect of the mind or not, the answer will be apparent. It is apparent. As you are notionless, as you are not giving truth value to thoughts, the truth of what you are is apparent, and the truth of the world is apparent. The mind doesn't have to be satisfied. The mind will poke you. Is this mind? This is also mind. Is it? And that depends on, also depends on your definition. We mostly defer to Bhagwan's definition, which is mind is a bundle of thoughts. If you look at it just as bundle of thoughts, then it's fine. Because there's no actual thing like mind, just like there's no actual thing like body or world or table or anything like that. You see, it is just an abstraction that we use. So 4 sticks and a lump of wood together, we call that a table. Isn't it? Same way we call leg, what we were saying, hand, all this put together, we call that body. We call everything in the realm of perception, we call that world. But there's no actual substance in that. So is it mind? It depends on what you call mind. There is no actual meaning. It is just words give rise to other words. If you open a dictionary, do you get actual meaning? No, you just get other words. And if you didn't know the language, you would have to look them up also. So actually, it's just circular, no? Goal. There's no real meaning being given or knowledge being given. In the same way, you see, in your mind, if you have a definition of the mind, which is bundle of thoughts, then that question is negated, because are you aware now is not coming as a bundle of thoughts or a thought. You see, you are seeing it in a different way, not sight seeing, but you're recognizing it, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah. So let me ask you in a different way. There's a perception of this hand. You see, who is aware of that perception? Who's aware of that perception? There's a sheepishness is to say I. There's a sheepishness to say I, because we've related I with the ego for so long. You see, that I must go, that I has to go. See, then how can I be aware? See, so we can rely on Bhagavan's word to solve that riddle for us. He said, when the truth is apparent, I removes the I, and yet remains the I. You see, so the false I is removed, and yet the true I remains. You see, so the true I is aware of the perception of this hand. You see, and that I, can it be perceived? Can it be perceived? No. Are you just thinking that it is there and saying it is I? So you're not thinking about it, you're not perceiving it. And yet you are confirming it is I. Intuitively, my dear, exactly. That's the main point. So that intuitive insight about I is Atma Jnana, is self-knowledge. Everybody has it. It's got a bad reputation, that's the problem. Which is that it's very rare. Only 1 in a million will find it. Actually, it's sitting there, everybody. Like the master said, the diamond is in your pocket already. But you are begging because you're looking in the wrong direction. So spiritual seeking is that begging. Diamond already in pocket. See? In our living room, who's sitting? God is already sitting. Whose light is shining? That gives light to all of your perceptions. God's light, consciousness light, whichever word you like. But it is yours, already with you.
Same question. Yeah. But during the Set of Qualifications, there is a sequence there is an instance in the book in which it is written that because of doing a lot of Maharaj used to give some multi sadhana for people who were in the basics.
Yes.
So once they used to do it for some amount of years or something like that, they used to get out of the body consciousness.
Yes.
That's how it is written. Yeah. And it comes later in life to that. Now the advanced seeker has lost body consciousness. Okay. He used to say to them that there is nothing but as Ishvara and nothing. There is nothingness. That is empty or openness, as you have just said. So there are two aspects to it: the basic one and the advanced one. So when do you know that you have transcended the body? For example, if I'm doing something for about some years, when do I know that I have transcended the body? When do I know that?
If you're here, you're ready. You say, but how can I really know? I'm telling you.
Today was the day I thought this is going to get unveiled. That's why I had this conversation.
Very good. You're here. You're ready. Who's got so much body consciousness anyway? That is another much maligned thing. No, it's not commenting on the Maharaj at all. He's staring right here. I'm not saying that. So I'm saying, okay, let's say it this way, that nobody in this room has a lot of body consciousness anyway. Are you perceiving your ear right now? Are you perceiving your nose right now? Unless I'm pointing it out, you become conscious of it. No? One of my masters told me very early that your body consciousness of your ear, when I pull your ear, without that, there's no body. So you are ready. So, okay, let me demystify it a bit for you, because later when you go home, these things will trouble you. If you're open to this, you are ready for it. Most who are taking themselves too much to be the body, and they feel like they're too much that I must be an object in this world, and all this talk about the light in which the universe appears is all too far out, can't be true. They may not be. But this is resonating with you. So you're ready. Like most of the friends and people in our family and all we know, if you were to talk to them like this, they will say, "Okay, it's okay for you. You are happy, no? You be happy. Don't tell us." That is closeness. You see, so they are not ready. They can do some other thing. You see? I'm also not saying that some is lower, some practice is lower and some is higher. But I'm saying that different strokes for different folks. So if they get averse when they hear stuff like this, they can do some other thing. God has made enough avenues for them. But if this is resonating with you, grab it. Okay, a lot of hands went up in the internet.
So you asked that, what is that? What did you just clarify? I mean, that what you expected to find, be sure you're not going to find that person and how would you came.
Yeah.
Because that thing kind of makes you look really there. Because when you said that, what you found now, that has nothing to do with
because everybody expected to find something.
Yeah. Some state.
Everybody comes into satsang or spirituality expecting to find something, peace. I'm calling everything phenomenal a thing. So peace, love, joy, ananda, whatever you may call it. Everybody came expecting that. You see? Now what you're finding about yourself is that you are not a thing. And everything comes and goes. So why I'm saying that is so that you don't get attached even to some things which may be appearing. See? For some, it may be appearing that way, that these beautiful love, peace, and joy may be appearing. It's okay. Let them come. Don't fight it. But don't get attached to them. Because everything that comes goes. Everything that comes, it goes.
In present case that we actually get, why do we have to always start it? It happens.
So why do we have to always?
Why do we always have to name it? This naming instantly happens.
Yes.
For example, if you found out somebody will suddenly say, I know that person.
Yeah.
Why? I mean, suddenly why that?
Just because the provider of labels is producing the label doesn't mean you have to stick it. Slowly. So, labeling instantly happens. You say, okay, this you're perceiving, the label may come hand. So, the label is also always different. One may say Ashirvad, one may say stop. The label can be different. You see, when they're saying, Ananta is giving blessing. One may say Ananta is saying stop. You see, when they say hand. So the label is different. So the truthiness cannot be found because every label may be different. Which label is the truth? Cannot be found. Just by the arising of the label doesn't mean that consciousness has lost its power to let go of it. Just because it arises doesn't make it true. This is what you have to investigate. So in your report, it kind of felt like consciousness has now been held hostage. See, it's been now held hostage because anything that appears, the name also comes. The name also comes, consciousness has to take it to be that name. You see, it's not like that. Although the mind is designed to produce the label, consciousness retains the power of belief or not, of giving value or meaning. Consciousness is not handed that over to the mind. So you as consciousness have full power. Show me a thought which has to come where you have to, as consciousness, bow down and accept the label. Nothing like that. You see? So allow the labels to come. It's like an echo. Echo is coming. You see? Like a small speaker is there in this room. You see? Anything that shows up on the stage, then that speaker has to give it a name. But just because the speaker in the room is giving it the name, or a child is sitting there in the corner saying, hand, mouth, you see, person, good, bad, like that. Just because the child is sitting there doing it doesn't mean you have to believe the child. No, nobody can force consciousness to believe. And keep experimenting, see how it is. So the child mind can keep producing these labels and these stories, but consciousness cannot be forced into accepting them or believing them. Don't think about spirituality too much. Even if it feels like you become jobless now. Thinking about God is not the way to go. Soche sochna hoye jo soche lakwa. You may think and think and think 100,000 times, but that is not the path to God. Now, the mistaken idea is that Jnana Yoga means we think about God. Because it's knowledge yoga and we feel like knowledge means concept. But that is not the Jnana which is Jnana Yoga. Jnana is intuitive insight. So it's not like when we feel like I was invited one time to apparently an Advaita session, but it was not an Advaita session. It was like a debating society. And then I was just like, okay, this is very, very different from, any true spirituality. So don't feel that it is like that you have to think and come up with the master concepts and come up with the master understanding. See? And with that clarity is the actual clarity. Nothing. That will get slapped out of you the minute some small thing shakes in life. All the highest concepts go flying out the door. So don't think too much about this. Allow yourself to be in your intuition. Some of you may have a report that it doesn't feel like the heart area. They may say, and I've had this report that, Ananta, I know that you're not talking about the physical heart. See? I know that you are talking about like a sense of light or a sense of being in the heart region, which represents as the core of beingness itself. But I don't feel it like that. And that is absolutely fine. That is absolutely fine. So we use the heart, capital H, the word heart, capital H, just to signify the intelligence which doesn't need mental working. The intelligence that doesn't need mental working is your intuition. So trust that. Like you have to do mental working to confirm that you are perceiving this hand, that you are aware of this person. No, it's apparent. In the same way, you don't have to do mental working to confirm that you are aware. So that pool of insight and intelligence which is available to us without the need to compute, without the need to say this, therefore that, because of this, and then you see all of this time-based stuff. And this intelligence, this heart insight, this intuition is available for all of us. So to stop thinking too much about it, stop trying to resolve it in your head too much. Just allow yourself to be relaxed, chill out. Doesn't matter even a little bit about whether you got it in your head or not. What you understood in your head or not doesn't matter. Somebody could have read all the Upanishads, all the Upanishads and all the concepts, is able to quote and say, oh, this is Katha Upanishad, this is Prashna Upanishad, this is Brihadaranyaka, this is this one, this is that one. You see, all the knowledge may be there. But not one moment they spend outside their head. And there may be another who's never come near these books. Even my master says he doesn't like these big, big books. But in hearing his utterances, who can say that they are not Upanishadic? They point to the highest truth without needing. Maharaj, what did he study? Huh? Illiterate BD seller on the streets of Mumbai. Illiterate. And yet, his words are now the Bible of Advaita Vedanta. Because the Upanishads seem inaccessible without an understanding of Sanskrit, and all the commentators have said so many different things. So we entrust one who is just sharing from his direct insight in such a beautiful way. And everything he said, somebody will be able to confirm and say, okay, this is there here in this scripture, this sutra, all of this is verifiable. But he had no need to study any of that. He's just speaking as if it's like clear in front of him. There's computer, there's camera, there's like that. He's just talking. And those words are conforming to the highest scripture. Like that, without having to use the head. Okay, one moment. Yeah. I'm going to mute myself because my daughter is calling a few times. Let me see what's happening. Okay, are we looking at all the hands? I have an early morning flight tomorrow to Pune. So whose question not been answered yet? All the hands are still up. Okay, who haven't I spoken to in some time? Okay, let me go to Matthew because I haven't spoken with Matthew in a bit.
Hello, Ananta.
Hello.
How are you?
Good, thank you.
Not much to say. I want to say I don't even remember what we said at the beginning of the Satsang, but there were some things that really struck deep, and I thought they were quite wonderful. And I don't know. I wish I could remember to say, but I just don't.
Good, it's good.
Comes to say that it's again like just belief in the thoughts, and how I know it was about how we wait for, let's say, the world or this body to show that we are free, right?
Yes.
And I do feel like that sometimes. I'm waiting for the manifest to be like, oh, now you're free, because this is like this and this is like that. And to give that up to you.
Very, very. It's not possible actually. So why I expose all of these things? Because we look at the absurdity of it. It's just like if we saw Papaji at Pizza Hut, and he's just eating a pizza. We say, oh, this body is eating the pizza in such an enlightened way. It's all absurd stuff. So we don't have to pressurize. How will this body represent it? I mean, what is it? We don't have any of these kind of things.
And then it just wants to say that whatever it is that may this life genuinely be for freedom, and to not.
Well, you are here, and this is not the first time you're here. And anyone who can hear this one talking gibberish like this for more than 1-2 satsang must be in this life of freedom, I feel. Otherwise, who can come and hear this kind of nonsensical absurdity that I speak for more than 2-3 times? If they were not in this for freedom, I don't think it's possible.
And with joy.
That don't judge yourself too harshly.
Okay.
It is for freedom. It is for freedom. Don't.
Thank you.
All
Same.
Okay, 2 hands are still up, so let me go to them. Satyam and Mama is always also with you or no?
Yes, Anantaji, we are here.
Very good, very good, very good.
Today, I don't know, something happens when I come before you, really every call questions and all, they don't have much really to say, but something which comes up. So I'm going to pull them down, as to say. All I know after meeting Muji Baba in 2015, the set so long, it has come out. That's how he said it, and it's true till my every cell. There's something is out that I cannot put a finger on it. What is out, but the sense of being is here, and and it's so natural. It's not an object. It's so it's not even clear. It's who somewhere it's like blasphemy, but actually it's who I am. You can who we are, or I am, or whatever. And then in the waking state, this whole play happens with the sattvic and tamasic. There is that effort not to go into it, because as I have listened to you for so long now, this cat business really is over, but something is keep going to this bag of mischievous toys, you know. You understand very well. Yeah. So this is, I'm not asking a way out, but I'm just putting it out here just to expose it, that it's here. These toys are there.
Yeah. But the thing is that we cannot even conclusively say that they're here. So one may look at it, you may say, but I have a memory of it. See, I have a memory of it playing, because you're definitely not talking about right now. You're saying, I have a memory of it from some time. You see, so I may say to you, how much of yesterday do you remember? How many moments? You see, you may say to me, oh, but I remember if I work really hard, I remember 10 moments, 20 moments. You see, and in all those moments, I was up to some mind game, some mind identification. Now, one may look at 20 moments in a day of identification and say, that's a lot of freedom actually. Another may look at that 20 moments and say, oh, but that means I must be, other moments also I must be identified. But what can we conclusively say? Is it? So the mind attempts to make a narrative and say, this is my current condition. Yes. But the evidence that it has is not enough to conclusively report on our condition.
Yeah.
Is it? So I may look at that and say, but you're like a sage, because even the sages say momentarily something comes. You see? So 20 moments out of thousands and thousands in a day is nothing. You are free. You see? Another may say, but 20 moments, you are angry, you are fearful, you are hungry, you are all this. No, you're not free. What is the truth? You cannot say. So don't rush to any conclusions about yourself. You see? Let your freedom be the master's problem. It's not your job to do the report card.
Yeah.
You see, because we cannot say, it's like this, I am in this is playing out. No, you can't say it. On what basis can you say it?
Yeah.
See? I can tell you something which is conclusive, which is right now, in this moment, you are fully free. And every moment is like this only.
And the habit is, the report card is always, there's no exception to this. There's always a body-mind report, nothing else. It cannot report about something which it doesn't know.
Correct. And if the report card is F, I'm failing, I'm not worthy. So we talk to Shivam so much about this point. It's all nonsensical. But even if the report is A star, A plus, whatever, you see, that is also a setup for failure only. No? You to become so free now. Nothing can touch you. The world can't touch you. Look at how free you are. And tomorrow something will come and grab you. And then you say, no, I had it, but I lost it. You see, all this kind of nonsense.
And I've noticed that if by will, for a week, I don't slip in that banana peel, the toys, and then after a week, there's a sense of that this joker, which I call the joker. Wow, you've done really well.
What you are reporting right now is also symptomatic of the checker guy.
Yeah.
You see, just be open and empty right now and leave the week and all that business to me. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Don't make any patterns and conclusions. Don't have any causation. Don't have any of this stuff. If there is a process, let me manage the process. You manage the moment. You see? Usually you say the other way around. I say be open and empty. You say, Father, you do that for me. You see? But I will track my progress. Not you specifically, but many times I hear a report like that. No? Even that only you can do. You see? I'm saying you do. You be open and empty. You say you do that. But I will track my report. You see? So let's reverse the roles. You take care of this moment for me. You see? I will take care of all that is in time.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Thank you so much.
Right. I feel like we'll close here because it's good. It's good. Thank you all so much for being in Satsang today. Sadhguru Shri Baba ki Jai. Guru Kripa ke Baba. Shrikant has his hand up. Okay. So dear.
Yeah, namaste. Yeah, well, almost all my questions were answered.
Almost.
Yeah, but I just want to ask for your blessing because I might have an interview call. I'm not sure. Okay.
The blessing is for you to get the job, right? You have to clarify, like sometimes the blessing may also be the other way. In that which is the highest and most auspicious for you, may it unfold. That which is the highest. All full blessings.
Thank you.
Love you all.